10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio.
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this October 12th, 2020 evening. And Chris, the IFBB Europa in Alicante, Spain Pro Show has just wrapped up just a few hours ago, and we got a new champion, James Hollingshead, who will be going to the Olympia, along with second place Lukas Osladil and your boy Rafael Brandao. We're going to talk about that all in a minute, but the top three are going to the Olympia, so that's the good news. And the bad news is that there's really not many photos or video, and you told me that the live stream was pretty crappy.
Yeah, the live stream was the bad news. It's I'm tired of paying $25.
I don't pay anything; I just don't watch
and
it.
getting my money stolen, whether it be the Cal Pro, which I didn't ask for a refund, or this show. If you're going to do a live stream and you're going to ask people for money, you have to put out a quality, good product. And this was a shit product.
Here's the problem.
You know what? I'm in business.
Yeah.
I'm in rentals, and people will go and stay at an Airbnb or 1 month vacation place, and the product is impeccable. And people sometimes they're paying. They pay, and they'll say, you know what, the spatula is not clean. I will send someone over immediately and bring them a brand new spatula. Right. And if the place for some time,
customer's always right. Yeah.
For whatever reason, well, sometimes they're actually wrong and just pain in the asses, but they're the customer and they pay you. Yep. They keep you in business. And for whatever reason, if it's actually dirty, I mean, and I'm screwed up sometimes. I'll give you 4 nights and, $300 and, send you downstairs to eat the dinner in the restaurant they rent to. So, to pay money and just can't see what's going on is just ridiculous, especially in the light of we're in COVID. So people can't go. Like, I didn't go because I can't go because of COVID. I could be there and be there. I would love to go to the show, and I could have gone to the show, but I'm a pussy and don't want to go on the plane with 5 million people.
Well, you're smart because you got kids too. I think the problem is that when people these promoters do live streams, I got to say, Gary Yuta did it right. He obviously hired the right people, but when a lot of these promoters do these live streams, they think it's just a matter of having an internet connection and then setting up a camera. But if you really want to know the deal, call up, John Balick from Iron Man and let him explain it to you. You got to have someone who knows how to set lighting up so that when you videotape, everything is well lit. The camera can only pick up what it sees. So you got to have, the right lighting on the stage. Otherwise, you're filming darkness, or you're filming. How about the
simple thing like either hiring people who know, which would be called a professional.
Well, I'm saying, but Chris, if you're going to charge for the live stream, you want to make it look phenomenal. If you're not going to charge and you're just going to put a camera on things and give it away for free, then people can't complain.
Yeah, but that's my point.
Yeah,
if it's free, this show's free, and people complain. So
people complain about everything, but the point is, I understand if you're not going to spend money because you're not going to charge money, that's fine. But if you're going to charge people for it and you're going to make a profit, you better have a lighting guy there who, not only a video guy, but a lighting guy who can make sure that the stage is lit properly for video. Because there's a difference between lighting for pictures and lighting for video, and that's why a lot of people used to complain back in the day with the Olympia. They'd say that the pictures would come out, terrible because they would light the stage for the video.
Yes, that's right.
Remember
that's right.
those complaints?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's still the same problem or if they it seems like we can do both now. But a lot of times video lighting is different than picture lighting. And so
do a dry run. You know what I mean? Do a dry run beforehand, meaning, put a bodybuilder up there, put some protein on them, put them on video, live stream it to your house, see if it works.
Let me pull up some of that video because our good friend, I don't know where he got it from, but our good friend over there at Desktop Bodybuilding, Xavier Wills, used to work for me years ago. He had I don't know where he pulled his feed from, but let's pull that up. Hold on a second here. So this is the prejudging. Hold on. This is the first call out, or this is the last call out, I think, at the prejudging. So this is our top 4 here. James Hollingshead in the middle to the right. To the left of him is is that Rafa? Yeah. And then to the left of him is Lukas Osladil, and then all the way on the right side, who do you got there?
Our right, who's people watching, is Reagan Grimes.
Reagan, right? Excuse me, sorry.
Way to the left is Lucas. Rafa and James are in the middle.
Now, when it was all said and done, Hollingshead wins. Lucas, who's all the way on the left, which is weird, comes in second, and Rafa's third, and Regan is fourth. What's your assessment here? Taking yourself out. I know you helped Rafa. I know you think he should have won.
It's all a fuckery. Fine. I'm just kidding. No, so if you go by the placings, like the placings are consistent with themselves. What I mean by that is, like James is winning, and the second biggest to him is Lucas,
right?
And he gets second. So those are consistent places, and then after that is Rafa and Reagan.
Right.
If that makes sense. In other words,
the video's not that great, so you really can't like start deciphering as much. But it seems that Hollingshead had the I guess it was, like you said, was the biggest, and with the conditioning thing going on. And Lucas is the hardest guy in the whole show, as always. But maybe not. From the little videos I saw,
from people who commented online and people who actually there. I know a couple of people were there, said he was pretty soft.
Oh, he was really?
Yeah.
Okay.
People were surprised, but people thought that, in his defense, in Lucas's defense, it may be soft quote for him. You know what I mean? How because he's usually peeled. Yeah.
I want to show this video that you sent me because it's really kind of cool. Of Brandao. This is what is it? Like, is this the morning of the show?
Yeah, it's like 4 hours
Okay. All right, hold on. Let me pull this up. This is from the Chris Aceto, the real technician Instagram.
Visit me there. We'll do commercials.
Yeah.
The dating sites.
Quads are pretty crazy. Now, granted, this is in the room. It doesn't count in the room, but this is like right before the show started.
When you look like
right?
that, it counts. I'm sorry, but it looked.
Right, but that was right. That was right before the show started, too, right?
Yeah, it's like 4 hours.
Yeah. So that was Rafa. Look, I think this was the best we've ever seen of Rafa. I mean, I have to, the guy looks like he gained about 10 pounds of muscle from last year.
Yeah, I mean, he gains a little bit every year. I've been helping him for a while, and he moves up a little bit every year. I think the Olympia in 10 weeks. I think he can gain serious muscle, meaning like 2 real pounds of muscle, 3 real pounds of muscle, simply because, and this is the handicap for everybody, but everyone's in the same boat getting ready for the show, which is, I wonder if it's going on. And it affects your training, but the Olympia is obviously definitely going on.
Do you think? Getting back to the show, do you think these guys are so, close to each other? Because everyone is. There's no Ramy in the lineup. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but you know what I mean. They're all kind of on the same size. They're all in the same like tier of bodybuilder. And that makes it sometimes, I think, with maybe a judging panel that's, there wasn't like Steve Weinberger there and Tyler Mannion and the usual group of guys, judging the show. This was a different judging panel too. And so I expected to have an inconsistency in how the placings went. Now I wasn't there, so I don't know if they're wrong or if they're right. I think they got the top 4 right, it seems like. I don't know if the order was right. I know you would have liked to seen Rafa in that first position. I don't even feel like I'm qualified to even make a call on that, just because you can't tell anything from the video and there's no pictures anywhere.
Yeah, I can't really make a I mean, I wasn't there. It'd be unfair to make a real assessment, and then you can't go by the crap $23 video that I paid.
In the U.S., if you would have seen that first call out, we would assume that those two guys in the middle were first and second, and the guys on the ends were third and fourth.
Yeah.
So I don't know, how Lukas got into the second position. He's European. I don't know. Maybe it was a European thing that at the end of the day, but everyone was pretty close, in terms of the scorings and stuff. So I don't know. I want to just say congratulations. I know Hollingshead had a really tough year. I mean, think about
great guy
with
trained with Luke.
Yeah, Luke Sando. Yeah,
dedicated the routine to Luke. He did like Luke's poses. Super.
And he's a guy also you never expected to come in here and win a pro show and go to the Olympia. So this was it really was a nice finale for a terrible year for him, that worked out well. So I mean, it was definitely a good feel-good story, seeing him in that winner's position. And I like the fact that, it's great that the top three went to the Olympia. So in essence, I know Rafa is like one of these guys that everything he sees the bright side of everything. So he's just happy he's going to the Olympia. I know you wanted to see him win, but at the end of the day, all three of those guys are going to the Olympia. So I guess the person who's probably the most upset would be Regan Grimes, I would think. And
I think he's qualified on points, and so he'll be at the Olympia.
Oh, he was okay. All right.
The important thing here is, I did want to comment on is, I like that they took three people, because you said something about, let's just say this. In that lineup, there's a lot of good guys. Even if you go to 5th and 6th and 7th, and I think
Samson Dowdle looked good. He could have been harder, but he looked really good.
And he could have cracked the top 4. Where? I don't know. And there's a couple other people. Mark Hector could have cracked, possibly the top 4.
Look at this little clip we put on our Instagram. Hold on, the wrong one.
So Dave, the point being is that there's since there's no dominant bodybuilder in, let's say, like the New York Pro, the Tampa, these type of shows. I mean, there's not someone just blowing people off stage and winning. There's people who are getting 2nd and 3rd who are not qualified for the Olympia.
Yeah.
And they're really good and could or should be on the Olympia stage. And it's nice to see them going back to, for once, take the top 2 or top 3 here, top 3 in the show, because if they didn't, you wouldn't see these guys at the Olympia. And
true, but they're not doing it. They're not doing it next week for the Chicago.
I know,
Pro.
And they should. I think.
Maybe they should.
Because the problem is this. The problem is, I know, it's the ideal is you got to win a show to get to the Olympia. It's the Olympia, the biggest show on earth. But let's just say you do a show, whether it be, I know Jason Rodriguez is doing Chicago and probably the favorite for that.
Yeah,
Justin Rodriguez.
Had him on.
Justin.
We interviewed him this past week. Good, nice kid.
And Justin arguably could have snuck in there, let's just say, and won the New York Pro. Had he not done Chicago, let's say, get hurt, if he got 2nd at the New York Pro, he could have been going to the Olympia, and he deserves to be at the Olympia.
Years ago, they did top 3. Now, and top 5 at New York Pro, and Arnold used to go to the Olympia. Do you know why they changed that?
Expenses, probably. Who knows? Cost of fortune.
Well, but because there's too many shows now, so there were too many people qualifying. So they had to, you don't want 30 guys on the Olympia stage. You know what I mean?
I hate that argument. Why?
Because it's the Olympia. It's
like saying,
at the Super Bowl. I don't want to have a 4-team round robin. I want to see the 2 best teams play each other.
Well, you know what, Dave? In the NCAA, you get shitty little basketball leagues like in the Northeast who qualify for the to go to the tournament, and sometimes the unseeded crap teams make it all the way to the Final Four.
Sure.
You know why?
True.
Because when the heat is on, they live up to that moment. I'm not saying someone who's 3rd or 2nd at one of these shows is going to shock the bodybuilding world. But a lot of times we've seen people who are complete duds, who are big names at the Olympia because of the pressure. And we've seen people who were supposed to be nobodies look tremendous at the Olympia.
Well, I think that's why they made the point system. So now that they have, it's like a wild card system. The thing with the points is that you can't just do one show and qualify for the Olympia. If you're not winning a show, you're gonna have to do multiple shows to build up enough points. So I think the system works. I do. I understand, because this year, obviously, they really should have made the top 3 New York Pro, top 3 Chicago, and top 3 Europa, since these are the last 3 qualifiers of the year. And we really didn't have a lot of pro shows this year for qualification spots at the Olympia because of COVID, obviously. That would have been the smart thing and the more fair thing to do. Why they did it in Spain but not here in the U.S., where you're going to obviously have I think you're going to have in Chicago, you're going to have the best lineup we've had. But
yeah, you'll have a killer lineup.
Now let's talk about we could. It's hard to dissect the show for those people who are listening and watching because we don't have. I can't even pull pictures up of and we can analyze them, and the video is just not good enough. And I don't want to ever come off as an expert on the show, and I wasn't sitting in that front row, and I'm looking at crappy video, and then I'm making assessments. And Chris doesn't want to do that either, because then that's not fair to the competitors, because we weren't there. So. But the big story is not. I mean, obviously James is the feel-good story of the show, but the big story is Ramy. What the freak happens to Ramy? I mean, Ramy makes this announcement, at the last minute that he's got COVID now, and now he's backing out of the show. Now, let me. You can validate this, but let me back this up first. Give a little history on this thing. First, we hear. A couple days, a day before the COVID announcement, I'm not going to say who told me or who told anyone. I hear that Ramy is in the hospital. That's what I heard. The rumor was because of diuretics. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Next thing I hear, he's tested positive for COVID, and he's put some video up on his Instagram, right, of him getting his nasal cavity swabbed. Now, before I went for my colonoscopy 2 weeks ago, I got my nasal cavity swabbed too, because that's a requirement. And when you go to the hospital, I had to get my colonoscopy in the hospitals. They had to do a COVID test on me. I could have told people I was COVID negative. I wasn't, obviously. I mean, COVID positive. I wasn't. Has anyone seen the COVID test on Ramy? Do you believe that Ramy has COVID, or do you think he backed out for another reason? That's a better question.
I heard he bailed.
That's the rumor. That's the rumor.
But I hear, I'll tell you this. I didn't ask anyone, and I don't ask anyone, because I don't talk to anyone in bodybuilding outside of the people I prep, and nobody told me, that. And I talked to you and more than one, a couple people, very reliable, told me he bailed out of the show.
Here's the Ramy.
I'm using
the Ramy COVID test right there.
Dave, I'm using someone's actual quote, bailed, because it sounds like a.
Well, I'll tell you what. We reached out to Bader. I got my Camel Crew. Bader will be happy. I got my Camel Crew shirt on here. Look. And
Dave, don't mention my name, Dave.
I reached out. I think Bader suggested that Ramy was bailing too.
No, I didn't, Dave. I didn't.
He doesn't think that Ramy has COVID. It would be a good excuse to get out of the show. Now, but I mean, how bad can Ramy have been, right? I mean, come on. He's so much bigger than everyone. He's like in another league of his own. I mean, for him not to have placed top 3 here, I mean, it would have been impossible almost,
Yeah. He would have eaten Reagan and eaten Brandao alive.
I mean, this, I think, is just a bad move.
And Lukas,
So now 2 years, his best 2 years. Ramy's in the prime of his career, and for 2 years in a row, we're not going to see Ramy on a stage at all, much less the Olympia stage. We saw him at the Arnold stage, but I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean,
well, it's
will he have enough points to qualify? I mean, from the year Arnold,
I don't know. Go. I don't think so. But how many points he got? We'll go to the point.
Yeah. And will he be allowed to do the Olympia? Will he have to have another COVID test to make sure he's still negative?
Well, we didn't talk about. You saw the guys had to wear masks on stage, and by the time the last call out said they all just have them on their chin.
I was so happy they pulled them off. It really was. I thought they all had beards at first. When I was looking at the video from a distance, it looked like they had a white. I said, "What do these guys all have white beards for?" Because they pulled it around there, And then I realized they were wearing masks. I said the whole thing is so stupid. The masks on stage. I mean, they're all backstage with each other pumping up. You're not keeping it. They're right next to each other on stage,
Yeah.
Let me pull this up here.
I think Spain's got just like everywhere, do a resurgence. But Trump is cured, though. He's good now.
That was quick because he got all the right remedies.
Yeah,
Sorry. So according to this points thing, Max Charles has 11 points. Hold on, let me get Ramy off the screen there. So Max Charles has 11
fabulous.
points.
I can't wait to see Milos in.
Yeah. Lucas had 10 points, but now Lucas is qualified automatically, so you got to take him out of that. So and Ramy's the next one on the list at 9 points with on win has also got 9. Regan Grimes probably has had 8 before. Now he has more. He's probably up there. Kuklo had 8 points. Justin Rodriguez 8. Justin could possibly win Chicago, right? So that would take him out. Ramy has a good shot of qualifying here, because all these other guys are not doing any more shows for the year. So Ramy, in all, honesty, will probably qualify on points for the Olympia, doing nothing. You think that was the game plan? They realized he's not good. If he does the show and doesn't look good, his stock goes way down, and then he's probably going to qualify on points anyway. Is that the move,
totally
Chris?
Plausible. Totally 100% plausible.
I'd like to see the positive COVID test, because I think if he can produce that, I mean, that would be a lot more. I think people would really tend to, say, all right, well, the guy got COVID. I don't think there is. I think we'll never see that. We'll never see a positive COVID test. It's like Trump's taxes. We'll never see that.
Well, we did find out they paid $750.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. But the point I'm making is you're never going to see. Well, you're never going to see Barack Obama's, birth certificate. That, that's up there with that joke. But I don't think that Ramy has COVID. Where would he have gotten it from?
Anywhere, though. I mean,
where does he go? If he has it, then everyone in his gym has it, right? Who did he get it from? Who did he get it from? That's what I want to know.
Dave Palumbo wants to know exactly who you got it from.
No, but I'm saying, where does he get? I mean, why all of a sudden did he get COVID 2 days before the show? Isn't that kind of a little too coincidental? I feel bad for the guy if he did get it, but I don't believe it.
Conspiracies, and it sounds like it looks like he wasn't going to be anywhere near his best.
Yeah,
and that would have affected like our, his quote stock running into the Olympia, which certainly would have got into his head.
Yeah,
and this will get into his head anyway. So
if he is faking it. I heard that they were him and his people were watching our show, and they got very nervous when you gave your assessment of his physique. That's really what I heard.
I said he didn't look very full, and then when you said no, he looks pretty full, I said think of Rolly. That's full. You know what I mean? When you see like a Rolly picture, and you're like, holy smokes, that's crazy.
So I blame you, Chris, for giving him COVID. That's where he got COVID from. He got it from you, from watching the show. He actually he was the first person to catch COVID from watching Heavy Muscle Radio.
If you spell COVID backwards, it spells my last name. You know that?
Does it really? No. But that's really sad. You know what? I would be afraid to fake having COVID. I would never tell someone I had cancer. I mean, we know other people that would probably do that, but I would never say that because I'd be afraid that I would be, given cancer.
Of course you would. That's how it works. Karma.
I wouldn't let it into my wheelhouse at all.
Yeah.
I'd be afraid I'd manifest it.
Yeah, I mistakenly sent pictures of Brandao to Jose, and he said, "Oh, he's going to win." I said, "Oh God, if I end up third, how's that?" Jinxed it. It's like saying I got, when someone says I got cancer.
Well, that's why I didn't even tell. That's why I never say that I never say that to you about any of the guys you said. I'm like, oh, he looks good,
Yeah.
But I did say it was perfect. I mean, I said, and you said that everyone else said the same thing. It's like the guy, he couldn't do anything else. I mean, the only thing he needs is a little more size. But I mean, aside from that, I mean, the guy has symmetry. He's got conditioning. He's got flow to his body.
Things take time. You know what? Brandao is like Reagan. They're young.
Yeah.
They're young, and it takes time. Although Brandao has a more mature look, I think, than Reagan. It takes time for your body to mature. People who aren't around the sport don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
But it's like, when you cook something and you take it off the stove too early, even though it's cooked, it doesn't taste good as long as compared to like when you let it sit and simmer for a longer period of time.
Right.
It's, the longer you train and age, your physique takes on a more manly, even if your weight doesn't go up. You know what I mean? It takes on a more denser, harder look. And that's why you have to be patient. Jay had the same problem. Like, when he first came on as a pro, he had like good separation. He was, first couple years, he was good. He was big. He was hard, but he didn't have that like density look. His muscle looked like on the young side.
He didn't have a grainy look. Yeah.
Yeah, it took time to get. And it took like another. It took him a while. So,
some people thought he would never get it, but he always had that. You always knew he was going to get there. Like he had that structure. That.
Yeah. He had the width.
Yeah.
He had the crazy width.
So, final assessment, of the show. What would you say?
Congratulations to James Hollingshead for winning the show, because he obviously, look at the scorecards. Right?
Yeah. You sound like you're whispering now. You're getting very.
I would love to look like a picture and say, pick them apart, Lukas, six, who didn't, who looked like they could have placed maybe a little bit higher, but we're at the whims of what we see.
True.
It's funny that people go all out, make comments on like the most crap video that we all just saw. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there was also a 212 division so we don't want to leave those guys out. Angel Calderon wins that.
Thick as a house.
Yeah, he's good. I wish I had a picture to show you guys.
Well, I've seen pictures of him.
Yeah.
And he's won shows in the past. He's phenomenal. Crazy thickness. Where's he from?
Good question.
It's on the scorecards, probably. And did he win unanimously? I know you saw the scorecards.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he's pretty overwhelming.
He's actually from Spain. If I'm reading it correctly, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was from Spain. But he was kind of like pushed by the guy who got second to some degree.
He's a little freak, though, this guy.
Freak.
I'll pull up his. I got a picture from his Instagram. Hold on.
He's more freakier than, yeah, see?
That's grainy,
Yeah.
That's crazy grainy, right?
Yeah, the pecs, the shoulders, the arms, the legs. He's dangerous.
We've talked about him before, yeah. It's nice to win a show in your own home country too.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Probably. Did they have an audience? Not much, right?
I don't know. I don't. That's a good question, Chris. I don't really know. I'm not really sure because I don't know what they were allowing and not allowing over there. They had a classic physique too. Wow, they had a lot of guys in that classic physique division.
Yeah, classic. Top two guys in the classic.
Giuseppe Christian from Italy.
Fabulous.
Zagarella wins. I don't even know who he is. I hate to say that. I don't know who someone is.
On your RxMuscle Instagram.
We have him. Oh, is that the guy? Because I thought that was the NPC winner we've had on there. Maybe not. Hold on. Let me see.
You know who? Sergi.
Oh yeah, this is. Yeah. All right, let me pull him up. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
Sergey Constance was in the show, Dave.
Was he really?
Yeah, I think he. Well, I don't know if he. Look on the scorecards. How
Look at how ripped this guy. This guy is shredded. Holy mackerel! You said that picture was filtered too. I don't think it is.
It's filtered.
Chris, you're like the filter main. You're the filter expert. How crazy is that guy? That's conditioning. You want to fucking talk about conditioning? I don't care if it's filtered or not. That's conditioning.
Yeah, no, he looked great.
Giuseppe Sagarella.
Second, he looked off the hook too.
Yeah. I can't even pronounce his name from France. Maxime Yadis. I like that we have some new talent here. That's good. Mike Summerfield from Germany is third. So this guy's crazy though. I wonder how he'll do in like the Olympia. You know, and remember the top 3 go to the Olympia here. I believe in Classic too, right?
I think so.
Definitely 212 and open. I think it's Classic as well.
Oh, did the top 3 and 212 go?
I believe so. Yeah. We're gonna have the Hollingshead on the TV show this week, so it's gonna be a good interview. I'm looking forward to it because obviously he had a tough year, and it's gonna be a great interview with him.
His
And
mother
we can.
died too. The same. His mother died.
Oh, his mother died too. I didn't know that.
Uh,
I didn't realize that. Holy mackerel!
soon after that, of course, Luke. They were very, very tight.
Well, your mother dying is worse than your best friend dying. I mean, and there's neither one is good, but that's crazy. Ugh. What a year he had. Well, something good came of it. That's great. Let me see who else was in this show we should be mentioning. There was a men's physique also in there, and that was won by... There's so many names; it's so small I can't even read it. I'm like, I gotta zoom the page in. It's called getting old. I can't see anymore. All right, hold on. So they had a full boat. This was great that they did this because.
Yeah, Dave, I felt nostalgic when I saw the pictures of Spain and it's on the water.
Yusuf Diodi, he won from France.
To Dave, in the olden days, you'd send me over to those shows to cover them with you.
I know. I used to go to the shows. Not only did you cover them, I actually went to the shows too.
You would have a blast.
Yeah. This would have been a fun show.
Dave got married and boom, 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 3 kids.
Yeah. Women's bodybuilding was won by Margarita Zamilova from Czech Republic. We know her. She's great. Alina Hadvani was second, and third was Barbara Carita from Italy. They actually had they had a pretty good lineup here of girls.
Yeah, even on the...
They had a fitness, pro fitness was won by Minna Polanati from Finland. Congratulations. They had a figure division too. They had a full boat. Yeah. Figure was won by Ria Gale from the United Kingdom. Okay. Samantha Jering was second from Sweden. And Brittany Campbell from the US. So, and she's good. It must have been a tough show. Bikini was won by Adriana Kazmarek from Poland. Have we ever had a Polish pro go to the Olympia? Oh yeah, what's his name?
Piotrkowski, whatever.
Yeah. Miatrikovic there. Yeah, he always goes. Whatever happened to him? He disappeared. He must have retired.
I don't know. We don't hear how they retired, right?
Yeah. Women's physique, Anne Lorraine Mohn from France. Very international field going to the Olympia. She wins. Barbara Menage second. Modesta Halby from Denmark third. And there was actually a wellness division. You might, I know all of you wellness fans out there. The Brazilian swept. Imagine that. Angela Borghese. She wins. And second was Juanita Esteso. So they swept the top two there. Imagine that. Casey DeLong from Georgia had to settle for third. There was only 5 girls in wellness. Brandao should have crossed over. Right?
Yeah.
Ramy could have crossed over and done wellness if he was out of shape. Could have put a wig on.
Dave, you're going to get flack for Ramy COVID.
Well, I don't care because I until I see a positive COVID, I don't believe it.
Well, I know it fits the.
And believe me, I did a very heartfelt the RxMuscle update when I found out because I felt really bad for him. But then I started analyzing the data, and things are not adding up. For me, I'm getting too much feedback from people who know him that they're saying that he bailed on the show. So I don't know. Look, if he flashes the positive COVID test, then everyone can shut the hell up, right?
Yeah.
That would be the way to do it. Do you think that all the bodybuilders or all the people who are going to be competing at the Olympia should have to provide a clean COVID test to Dan Solomon?
Can you imagine? Listen,
I would.
You know, when I found out that Ramy was positive, I thought the same thing. I said, what if you go to the Olympia and like Vegas or whoever? Because you must know people who I know people who tested positive and completely not even a sneeze or a sniffle.
Mm-hmm.
And I know 2 bodybuilders who felt like they had the flu for like 1 day.
Right.
And then I know 1 bodybuilder who was really in trouble for like 6 days.
Right.
And so the point being is you can have, of course, COVID and be asymptomatic.
Yep.
And there's nothing going on at all, nothing wrong with you whatsoever. You could feel great and you have it. Can you imagine?
Let me throw something out there. This is a despicable, terrible thing to say. I'm prefacing it before I say
I know
it.
exactly what you're going to say.
Okay.
I'll write it down.
And I want to put it out there because it's real. And people could say it's not, it's real. If most bodybuilders, if they got COVID 2 days before a show, and they weren't bedridden on an incubator, okay? Incubator. I'm thinking snakes on a ventilator. They would go and do the show, and they wouldn't tell anyone.
Incubator, Dave.
Matter of fact, most bodybuilders, Chris, wouldn't even go get tested till after the show.
Can I go on Match Game 76 or whatever with you for the bodybuilding version? Can I hold up? You know what my card says?
What does it say? Hold it up.
Have it and don't care. In other words, if you were, I don't know.
That's why I don't believe it. I don't believe Ramy 2 days before the show went to the hospital to get checked for COVID. I think he was in the hospital maybe because of something else, which we heard a rumor that, maybe he was having some diuretic issues or something, and they tested him, or he needed an out and went and got tested. And, look, anyone can get tested, but until I see a positive result, it doesn't mean anything getting tested,
Pick one bodybuilder, just one guy in the top 5 at the Olympia.
Look, I wouldn't. I'm being honest. I would not go get tested. I would not have gone unless I'm debilitated where I can't, walk or I can't do anything. I would not even think about that. I wouldn't agree. In my mind, I would say I don't have COVID. Maybe I have a sniffle. I'm going to go do the show and then I'm going to come back. And I know it sounds terrible, but that's a mentality. You've been dieting for 16 weeks. This is your livelihood. You do the show and then you come back, and if something's not right and you want to get tested, you get tested. Is it the right thing to do? No, but no, that's the athlete, right? The athlete wants to compete.
Well, let's just put names to it. If you were any one of the top 5 going into the Olympia this year from last year, and you look at your absolute home run, I just can't believe I look like this, I'm at my best, and you find out you have COVID 3 days before, are you going to call up and say...
But why would you even go get tested 2 days before?
Maybe
You're not going to. You're going to wait till when you get back from the show to do it. How many guys have you helped, Chris, that they're in the hospital the next day because look at Hassan Mustafa there. He had hemorrhoids. He was fucking bleeding from his from his anus there, because of his hemorrhoids. He couldn't sit on the plane. He was in so much pain. But the guy competed because that's what bodybuilders do. They compete.
Well, I mean,
he went to the hospital after the show,
Yeah, maybe I don't know that was Ramy. Call up Ramy. Let me give you his number.
Yeah, you call him. Call him on your phone. Call him on Instagram.
I have his phone number.
Okay.
Maybe he was traveling at the time from where he was to Spain because it was only like a week. Maybe he's going to go prep there the final week. And to leave Kuwait, wherever he is, or maybe Egypt, they said, you have to take a COVID test before you get on the plane.
I don't believe it.
You're taking the Johnny Cochran approach. Dave wants to see the glove.
Yeah, I want to see the test. Show us the test, and then no one has to worry about it.
Dershowitz could have got him in the show. He could have, he could have got the COVID test thrown out on the technical.
Look, you know what? I hope Ramy makes it to the Olympia stage. You know what the truth is? We don't have the right to tell Ramy what show he can compete and not compete in. We're just making it we're making a generalization here. But Ramy if Ramy qualifies for the Olympia and he wants to do the Olympia and he doesn't want to do a show before that, he doesn't have to. But don't pull it. This smells of like the Flex Wheeler ninja story. Do people know that story?
No, they don't even know who Joe Wheeler is.
They've heard the ninja story, but no one really knows. Flex was supposed to do a show, right? And he wasn't in shape or something like that. So he pretended he got carjacked, and then he fought off all these guys. He beat up like 20 guys, and he wound up getting hurt or something like that. And that's why the ninja story means that he was acting like a ninja. He had, ninjas can take out like 20 guys.
Well, like jumping the ship, but that's equivalent to the Wheeler story is like the Fonzie jumping the shark.
Right. No one even knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. Well, you do.
Now, Flex really did get into a car accident. That was real. When he crashed his Mercedes at like 130 miles an hour or something like that. How the guy lived in that. I mean, that just tells you God wanted him on Earth. Because that was a real thing.
Well, he came back like 12 months later and got second at the Arnold.
I know. It's crazy, right?
Not even 12 months.
So. But yeah, we don't have crazy stuff like that. I guess Ramy has to bring some drama into the IFBB because we don't have any characters anymore like that. What would Nasser say about Ramy not doing the show? These Egyptians, they are liars, and right?
Yeah, no.
I know. I'm only half Egyptian, but the Egyptians, they are well-known liars, and they make up things. And
because NASA would go way deep into like Soros and Bill Gates. They're liars, and there's no such thing as COVID. It's to take over the world by socialist Democrats like AOC, and right.
I hear that Ramy has his test is sealed in an envelope and in the vault that Geraldo Rivera will open up at the end of the year. They will do a big show on it, and that is true. I don't know if you were aware, but that is true. What would Milos say? You do your Milos.
You get on stage, you compete. That's I got on stage, stage 3 cancer. I got third, 83 Sweden.
Milos would be like, all he needed was a little insulin, and he would have been fine. If Milos could have insulined him up the last 3 days, he would have been absolutely fine.
We're about 340 and hard.
Yeah.
What? So the Chicago show is this week.
Yeah. Of course, they don't have a list out yet when we do the
don't.
show.
I was going to say maybe.
But we know who's in it. But look, Justin Rodriguez has got to be the guy to beat there, I think.
Yeah. Because he'll be in great condition.
I'll tell you, I interviewed Justin Rodriguez. Nice guy. I interviewed him with his coach. And, he reminds me so much of Victor Martinez. He sounds like him. He looks like him. His physique looks like Victor's. He's like a mini Victor Martinez.
Yeah. Big shoulders. Big
no doubt. No, I mean, right? I mean, I don't know if you saw the interview. I mean, I had never really talked to him before. He has the same intonations as Victor does,
They're both the Dominican, right?
They're both Dominican. Yeah, no. I mean, they could be brothers. You would not know that. You would swear if they told everyone they were brothers. You would say, of course they are. They have the same genetics to their physique. You know, he even hits that Victor twisting little front double bicep pose.
Same.
You know, I think he's going to be very dangerous.
I agree.
Really dangerous.
It would be very hard to beat.
But I mean, I think even at the Olympia, he's going to do well.
I agree there too.
And you know what the truth is? He's only getting better right now.
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't put I don't think we put the interview up yet, so it hasn't gone on. It'll be up this week. It was a good interview. I'd been wanting to interview him for a while. We just kept kind of missing each other, and so nice guy. Down to earth. You know, he's only been training he's only been competing for 5 years.
That's scary.
He came out of nowhere. People forget. He came out of absolute nowhere.
Yeah, one.
Do you know where he turned pro?
North Americans. North Americans. See, John Hansen, you don't have anything on me. I'm only going back 5 years, not 50.
It's not even 5 years. It's like 2 years.
No, what year did he win it? Maybe 4 years
18,
ago?
right?
17. So 17?
I thought it was 18. But it could be. You might be right. But then he what show did he do? And he just people where does this guy come from? He was out of nowhere. No one even knew who he was.
He did the North Americas. That was the one.
Yeah, but then what I'm saying, then he competed as a pro, and he was like
phenomenal. The first New York Pro that he did. And then he hit a spot where I think he had he did good, you know, but went sideways, you know.
Well, I think he didn't know what he was doing, Chris, because he had no experience. People don't understand. This guy that doesn't look like a Victor Martinez shot? Come on. That's a Victor Martinez physique right there.
Yeah.
He came out of nowhere, this guy. This is a guy whose genetics were so good. You know, this guy, was going to be a professional baseball player. That's what he wanted to do. You know, in the Dominican Republic, that's baseball is everything there.
Yeah, remember there
played second base. I told Sid, I said, Sid, you should get him for your softball team. Sid's like, holy shit! Yeah, I didn't even know that. He's in New York too. You know, Sid plays. You ever see these? You know, these corporate baseball, softball leagues they have. They're very serious. These guys.
They are.
And some of these teams will get ringers. They'll get ex-pros on the team. I said, you got a second baseman here, Sid. I said, this guy could fucking probably hit home runs every time he gets up there. I said, what's it like, Justin, hitting a 90-mile-per-hour fastball? I said, that's got to be harder than squatting 600 pounds. He's like, oh, it's like you don't even see the ball, he said. So fast.
So what happened to his baseball career? Didn't pan out, or? Well,
it's very different. It's very competitive. He wasn't good enough. But he was good, but he wasn't that good. It's only the best, cream of the crop. So he started working out, and then somone in the gym convinced him to compete. So because they just saw he had good genetics. And he won of course, it's like the old Phil Heath story. Does his first show after 6 months and wins the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're hooked, right? If it comes that easy to you, you're definitely hooked on that.
Yeah. No, he was superb at New York Pro.
I'm telling you, he's going to be a surprise at the Olympia too. He's going to do well.
I don't doubt it.
Because now that he's got conditioning. His conditioning was always almost there, Now he's got conditioning. So
he's got more fullness too, He's
got more what?
He's got more fullness than he used to have, more size.
Yeah, well, he's like I said, he's like in that. You know how when we saw Ronnie Coleman or Kai Green making their biggest gains. Well, it's like every year they were growing like weeds almost. That's like him because he's still fresh. Most of these guys have been competing, we've been training for 10, 15 years and competing for 10, 15. This guy's been competing 5 years, not even. This is his 5th year. So he's in a growth. We're going to see another 15 pounds on this guy probably before it's all said and done. And that's when he's going to be dangerous, assuming he goes to the right places,
No injuries.
And no injuries, right? He seems like he got his act together. He seems like his head's in the right place. Who else is going to be in this lineup? Do we know?
I don't know, right? There's no list. Who knows? I mean,
What happens is they always put the list out like right after
Keon doing the 212, which should be a big deal, right?
Who's doing the 212? Oh yeah, Keon Pearson, and then of course I interviewed the Austin Carr, who looks amazing too. He'll be doing that.
That's right. Yeah, you sent me pictures of him. He looks really good.
Yeah, that Justin, and I admit Roy is doing it too.
Yeah.
So I heard he's back with Justin. Justin told me Mitt's back with him. Milos gave him up. Milos passed him back over to
Did he pass it back, or they do a trade? They'll give you this guy for that.
He might have, I don't know. There might be a trade that I'm unaware of, Chris. So you're right. You might be right. Now Milos, he said, take him back. That's at least what Justin told him. That 212 should be interesting. It's funny. All those guys came from Classic too, right?
I know.
It's good. It's good to see new talent in the sport. That's what I say. I like that.
And is it Tim Gardner's show?
Chicago will be, yeah. It's the Wings of Strength.
Chicago in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, yeah.
See, I would have loved to go to that show.
I know you would. I'm surprised you're not going. That you have relatives down there too.
Yeah, I just won't go because I don't want to be the super spreader when go
super spreader.
Go see a tenant and be sued for.
Yeah. Jason Hun wins men's physique at the Battle in the Desert Pro show that took place in San Marcos, Texas, past weekend. Ashley Caldwell back on top again. Another pro win.
Right, Dave?
In bikini. This girl she's the Milos of bikini. Except she's got 3 Olympia titles under her belt too. It's pretty good, right? She's on a warpath. She must figure, you know what? I'm just gonna do every show. Milos was like that. People don't remember. Milos was every weekend you saw Milos, right? At a show.
But let's see. Milos, the thing why we love Milos is that he did every show. He can tell you today he placed where in every show.
Yeah, and what precipitated each.
Yes, and then he can tell you that was a show that Kevin looked like, he looked like shit on Thursday, and and he did XYZ on Friday, and he leapfrogged everyone and won the show. And he can tell you exactly how he, what he did. It's a photographic memory.
Hold on. I want you to look at this picture and don't read the print. Just look at the picture. Okay, you ready? All right, hold on.
Yep.
And I want you to tell me which show this is from. Milos Sarcev. Don't read it.
Okay, I won't read it. One of the European Grand Prix, probably 80. Let me guess, 87.
97.
I mean,
Hungarian
97.
Grand Prix.
Hungarian Grand Prix.
How does Milos even have these pictures? He must have a magazine with the pictures in it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he documents everything, and he's I'm telling you, nobody has a photograph. The only person who has a memory like him when it comes to bodybuilding is Samir.
Yeah, Samir's good too. You like that?
But Milos can tell you at this show what place he got, what his weight was, what his weight is on Thursday, who got first, second, third, fourth, fifth. The thing is with Milos too is it helped his competition. You know that, right?
Say it again.
The thing is with Milos is that he would help his competition. So if he was at a show and somebody didn't look good, you were competing against him, say, Dave, in this Hungary show, and Milos would tell you, this is what you need to do for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Dave beat me at that show.
All right, here now I'm gonna hit you with another picture. You're gonna name all the people. This is an easy one for you, and tell me what Olympia this is from. Okay.
Yeah, Dexter, Jay. I can go by Jay, so it has to be. Looks like 2000, 99 to 2000.
No. According to Milos, this is from the 08 Olympia. There's Monterazzo, Lee Priest, and Paul Dillette.
If Lee had started the fundraiser back then, he would have had the money.
What about this one? Hold on. Name the other two guys in the picture with Milos?
Jablanicki and Cormier.
That's right. There you go.
Is that New York Pro or something?
I don't know.
No, champions.
Milos tags as the archives of body. Oh, he must be taking it. Someone else must be posting it. That's what's going on. That's funny.
Chris Cormier. He calls him Chris Cormier.
Cormier.
Chris Cormier.
Where did this picture come from? Look at Sean Roden in that picture.
I don't know. The 2018.
Dave Fisher's Powerhouse Gym.
Is Dave Fisher.
I got to tell you something about Milos. Milos is popping up everywhere. He's at every gym in California. Isn't that weird?
Well, he's on tour.
He's every week I see him at a different gym. You remember Dave Fisher?
Yeah, I prepped him.
Oh, you did? Okay, he was good. I've actually been in his gym by accident. I went in there and we chatted and I trained for the day. It was great.
Oh, Dave's not in that picture.
No, he's not. But this is his gym.
Yeah,
I prepped Dave Fisher. Oh my God, it had to be 25 years ago. He came by. Dave Fisher used to live in his car out in front of Gold's, Dave.
Oh, he did? I didn't know that.
And you know what? You know how? Guess who discovered him?
Oh, Ed?
Knock, 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 knock. Knock, knock, knock. Put the window down. Put the window down. Hey, I've seen you in the gym. You're pretty good. Ed. Dave used to live in his car.
And Ed let him live in his house, or what did he do?
I don't know. Well, Dave, Ed did the whole. Ed, I had the free office at Ed's, and Ed, that's
right.
how Ed paraded.
Oh, so Ed introduced you to him? I see.
Ed said, "Can you help this guy?" I said, "Yeah, of course."
Ed definitely let him stay in the house then. He wasn't going to let Dave Fisher live in his car, right?
No, Dave. I'd never even been to Ed's house, but I had the crazy thing thinking back is I had the free office and free parking space at Gold's. Can you imagine?
Did you really?
That? Yes,
that's great.
He gave it to me.
That's awesome.
Do
you remember who Dave Fisher was married to?
Sue Price.
She was a good bodybuilder.
Yeah, very good. Her quads were better than Brandao's. They're more striated, right?
Look at this picture of Dave Fisher now. He looks pretty good still. He's got muscle. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he does. Does he? So yeah, where's his gym? I forget.
It's in California somewhere. It's not that far from Venice.
You want to know, Dave? You want to hear ask Dave Fisher. I'm not even going to say. Just text him and ask him if he remembers how much weight he gained in 1 week after he won the North Americas.
What was this picture from? Was that 1 week after the North Americans?
Oh no, North Americans looked like a white fat Albert. And he broke the record for the.
Oh, you mean like he rebounded the worst of any person?
In history of bodybuilding. John Hansen, write it down. I'm not even going to say. I will say off the air, Dave. I'm writing it down right now so you don't forget. So I don't forget.
All right. So what did he compete at? Like 198?
98.
He probably was like 250 or something like that.
Nope.
More?
Yep.
Oh, was he in the hospital like in cardiac arrest?
No, but
260?
Keep going.
No, there's no way he could have been like gained like 80 pounds, Chris.
Keep going.
280?
63.
263. Wow.
And he was supposed to do a photo shoot with her help.
Oh, no way. Would you just diuretic him out?
I don't know. He had how much weight can Akeem gain by eating like one giant cheesecake after a show? I'm dead serious.
I don't know.
Akeem. Like Akeem Williams, like people.
Well, he would get fat though. I could gain 40 pounds after a show of water, but Akeem could probably get like fat after a show.
Yeah, no, Dave's is water.
Let me see if there's another picture of Dave. I got to get him on the show. I got to interview him now. Now that you got me all juiced up about, we've been talking about Dave Fisher. Now I'm going to get Dave Fisher on the show.
He's one of these guys, Dave, that came from like a small little town in Canada.
Yeah, that's right. He was Canadian. That's right.
And, training at Gold's Venice was, how exciting that is for anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Today, especially when you're from Canada. And then Ed Connors.
I didn't know he lived in his car. That's a good story. Now I got to definitely get him on the show because.
Yeah, but, it was, I think he had like a little hot pot, like a crock pot or something. They cook.
Like, in California, people will barbecue right in the parking lot, right outside their car. They don't care.
Back, I hate to say that, but back in the day, when I was there in the 80s.
Think about the Instagram lives on that would have produced. They had
there was a lot of people who lived in their cars. There were lots of people who lived in their cars.
Yeah, and there was no cell phones, so he probably had to go into Gold's and use the payphone in there, right, to call people.
Gold's use the bathroom to take a shower, to brush your teeth.
Right. That's funny. I didn't know that story about him. Success story.
Yeah, and then he, ended up having a gym out there.
Yeah, that's great that he opened his own gym, and you know what? And it's still open, and he's still training people. And
yeah, he's had that place a long time.
I like to see when people have successful businesses, and you know what? You have a successful business when you're there every day. That's the key.
Yeah,
that's the absolute key.
You got to be there 24/7.
You don't go to the gym. Ask Steve Weinberger. Steve Weinberger's still at the gym every day. He probably doesn't even need to be, because that gym is self-sustaining. But people come there to see him, so
yeah, but you
got to be there.
You know what the problem is too? You have to be there because of theft.
Yeah, but they're petrified. Steve has cameras everywhere, so if he goes someplace, he's watching those cameras all the time. No one's stealing anything from Steve. But the bottom line is that the reason Steve is there is because he wants the business to be successful, and he's always improving it and getting new equipment and new. He's never resting on his laurels. A lot of guys I think get burnt out and they don't make improvements. And if you don't make improvements to your gym, then people just stop coming. True. The great thing about Gold's was equipment companies would donate equipment to Gold's. So every time, because I would go to Gold's probably every 3 to 4 months, I would take a trip out there, and every time I came, there was all new equipment. Right? They always had like a new room full of equipment there, and it was because these companies would showcase it there. People would come there, they would try the equipment, and they would call the company up and they would order it for their gyms. It was a brilliant move. I told Amanda, I said, if we ever build a gym on my other property over there, I said, I'm going to contact an equipment company. They're going to give us a whole gym full of equipment. I'll make it the the Life Fitness gym or the whatever. What's the hardcore equipment company nowadays? I don't even know. I'll have to start doing my research and order whatever the best stuff is. And we'll make it the RxMuscle gym. I'll do training videos from there.
You can do virtual training.
Yeah, I'll do instructional videos. That's the one thing I haven't really been able to do. I'm and I know you're really good at it too. I'd love to do more instructional videos, but I don't have time to go to the gym with the video guy and all that stuff. But a lot of people want, I guess, help on exercise form and how to execute things properly. So
my son asked me the other day, coming from football weightlifting practice, they do weightlifting there 2 days a week.
You should go in there and be the strength instructor there.
The football coach already. I'm like, dude, I only cut sodium. I don't do any training.
Do they know who you are? Like when you go to these?
Yeah. So my son says to me, Dad, when I bench, should I keep an arch on my back or not keep an arch? I said, absolutely keep an arch. I pull over the truck and I'm like, you got to keep an arch, because you want to keep his delts are forward anyway.
Right.
Some people have those delts up. I said, you want to keep your delts out of it and, you don't want to get hurt. He said, why didn't someone ever, so I'm in the truck. He said, why isn't there like like a little pump that you can pump an arch right onto the bench.
There you go. You know who had that?
I don't know.
John Perillo didn't have an arch in the bench. Remember John Perillo made that bench? It was like staggered. It was like a stepping stone. It forced your pecs forward and the way you laid on the bench. I don't know if you remember. It was a great bench. They were really expensive. A lot of gyms didn't want to buy them.
Just reinvented his invention.
There you go. But your son is smarter. I think you could actually pump up like an inflatable bladder like there.
It's like a truck because the truck has lower lumbar support. That I'm always pushing the button like support my lumbar.
Well, what the ingenious thing about this bench was, in the gym I trained at had it, but was that it forced you to be in the right position. In other words, you really couldn't cheat on this bench. You couldn't do as much weight, but it was because it forced everything into the right position, and I think that's important.
Yeah,
it was. I don't know why no one has it anymore. I bet it's one of these museum pieces you got to find.
Bodybuilding Hall of Fame. We got to put it in there.
I think it was a good piece. Now everyone's going to go out looking for this bench. Probably
get the Perillo cap try in the bar and put it in the Bodybuilding Hall of Fame under the supplement section. Cap try.
Oh my God.
What do you think of MCTs, Dave?
I like the concept of it, but I'll tell I don't. The reason I don't like MCTs, and nowadays coconut oils, people finally realize that coconut oil is an MCT, really. But Perillo used to make an MCT oil cap try called it, and I know that Blackman made a MCT machine oil, I think they called it, or something like that.
No, Blackman had one. It was good. It would taste good. It was called.
It was called machine oil. Twin Labs, right?
I don't know. I forget.
Machine oil. It sounds hardcore, Chris.
So give me a spin on.
No, the reason I don't like it is because it's not an essential fat. It's just pure. It's pure energy. So, like, if I'm going to give someone fats, I want to give them fats that are actually useful.
Got it. Do something.
Perillo's thing was, well, if you're on really low carbs and you take a little of this before you train, you'll have a little more energy. And for that purpose, I go along with it. But you know what happens? People abuse it, and then they start taking so much that they're not burning they're not burning fat anymore. They're just using that as the fuel. So the great thing about it, because MCT, medium chain triglycerides or even short chains, they don't need a carrier molecule to bring them into the mitochondria. Whereas most long chain fats require L-carnitine to transport them into the mitochondria. So basically what happens is you take in these MCT fats, they go right into your bloodstream, they go right into the muscles because they pass right through the cell membrane because they're fat soluble, and then they go right into the mitochondria, and because they don't require carriers because they're short chained. And so they get used immediately for energy. That's why they call it the fatless fat, because it doesn't have the same I guess you could say the same protocol that would be necessary to metabolize a long chain fatty acid. So they do mostly get used for fuel, and they're pretty good when you're in a ketogenic diet too, because you can use MCTs for producing ketones for the brain. But I think it all comes down to, Chris, at the end of the day, that when people start throwing extra energy into the system, their bodies don't burn as much stored body fat either. It's the old I don't want to suffer. Let's give us some energy. It's like these retards that drink branched chain amino acids while they're doing cardio.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so much better. Of course you do, because your body's using the branched chain amino acids for fuel, you're not burning calories anymore.
Yeah.
So, and they don't even realize it. I use Masterpiece barbecue sauce. I lost weight. I only had to do 3 hours of cardio a day.
Oh, he ate rats in China too.
I heard he put on 2 inches on his biceps from those rats he was eating in China. I get news for you. All right. Well, congratulations, James Hollingshead. You topped off the end of a terrible year for yourself in spectacular fashion, going to the Olympia with the win here in Alicante, Spain. For now, we're out of time. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
truth hurts.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.